Hope you're having a good day today. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be looking at the account of the Transfiguration today. Our hymn is the hymn Glory to His Name.
Down at the cross where my Savior died, down where from cleansing from sin I cried, there to my heart was the blood applied. Glory to His name. Glory to His name. Glory to His name. There to my heart was the blood applied. Glory to His name.
Our passage is Luke chapter 9, verse 28. It came to pass, about 8 days after these sayings, that he took Peter, John, and James, and went up on the mountain to pray. As he prayed, the appearance of his face was altered, and his robe became white and glistening. Behold, two men talked with him, who were Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory, and spoke of his decease, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. But Peter and those with him were heavy with sleep, and when they were fully awake, they saw his glory, and the two men who stood with him. Then it happened, as they were parting from him, that Peter said to Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah, not knowing what he said. While he was saying this, a cloud came and overshadowed them. They were fearful as they entered the cloud, and a voice came out of the cloud saying, This is my beloved Son, hear him. And when the voice had ceased, Jesus was found alone, but they kept quiet and told no one in those days any of the things they had seen. Back to the top. Okay, so one thing that perhaps sometimes we forget is that Jesus was praying. He had gone there to pray up on the mountain. Now, to think about who he's speaking with here, it's interesting. He's talking with Moses and Elijah. And what you have is you have the law and the prophets. You have the law and the prophet. And what they're speaking about is his decease, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. That phrase in and of itself in verse 31 is interesting. His decease, which he was about to accomplish. No one took his life from him, he laid it down. But the ones who spoke with him, Moses and Elijah. It's interesting because Elijah never died. And Moses' death was also peculiar, because up on Mount Nebo, where he died, it does say he died, the Lord buried him, and no one knew where. So you have one that, of all the people, the tombs of the kings, gathered to their people, all those phrases, the cave that Sarah and Jacob and Joseph, the family plots, the tombs that were so important. No one knew where Moses was buried. God did. God knew. And then Elijah was never buried. And they're speaking to the Lord about his upcoming, as it says, what's the word there? His upcoming decease, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. Just for giggles, I want to look real quickly. Which I have not looked beforehand. There may be nothing to it. I want to see what that word decease there, according to Strong's, it's the word exodos. And exit, literally. Interesting. That he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. And then Peter says what he says. Master, it is good for us to be here. 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah, not knowing what he said. We should be really careful when we don't know what to say. We need to make sure that our words are not vain, that they're not empty. We need to make sure that our words are not wrong. I think Peter was very sincere with his thought, with his words, and that he was wanting Moses and Elijah to stay. But that was, he said this not knowing, not understanding. Not knowing what he said. They were afraid. They had been heavy with sleep, and when they were fully awake, they saw his glory and the two men who stood with him. Just need to be careful. Make sure that when we speak that we are prepared to speak. The other thing I wanted to mention was just simply as the voice comes from heaven, "This is my beloved Son, hear him." And when the voice had ceased, Jesus was found alone. And I was just thinking about what they had as they woke up. They had a little glimpse of heaven. You notice how it starts? The appearance of his face was altered, and his robe became glistening. And behold, two men talked with him, who were Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory and spoke of his decease. And Jesus was glorified. They saw his glory. And then the cloud came and overshadowed them. I believe the parallel accounts say a very bright cloud. But as all this was happening, and when the voice had ceased, Jesus was found alone. What they had, just for a brief moment, was a glimpse of heaven. Just a glimpse. They actually, I believe, write about this account. I believe it's Peter. I could be wrong about that. You might look in 1st and 2nd Peter, as well as 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, as those letters are introduced. I believe one of them refers to this, maybe both of them. They were both there. And just for a moment, they got a little glimpse of heaven. Just a glimpse. And then all of a sudden, Jesus is alone, and he again looks like the carpenter's son. Nothing comely about him that we should desire him. He's not glowing anymore. But he puts his hand on him and he says, "Do not be afraid." Still the same individual, but transformed. So they saw, frankly, they saw transformed and then transformed back. Just a glimpse of heaven. I believe Paul also speaks about seeing and hearing things in heaven and the visions. And what a wonder it'll be when it's all said and done and we can see the Lord and see those who have gone on before us, Moses, Elijah, others, as all will be changed. Not everybody will die. Elijah didn't die, but all will be changed. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.